So about maybe a couple of months ago, I heard Naval Ravikant a podcast that he was on Joe Rogan probably 3, 4 years ago, and I heard a lot about it. I've heard Naval Ravikant on other podcasts, and I'm like, wow, this guy is like freaking awesome in the way he talks and he kind of shares and almost like a yogi investor, right? So anyway, I'll listen to him, and one of the things he said in there was, "Hey, just do set aside a day on the weekend or something, and do a plug off from the world and just do a whole day of meditation." And then that kind of struck me, like, wait, I've been thinking of doing that. I mean, I went to a 1 day meditation retreat. Long story, was a Buddhist meditation, Zen, not Zen exactly, but sort of Buddhist meditation from the Tibetan tradition. I guess it was more beginners and intermediate. I didn't get a lot of it. I'm like, hey, I probably could do a better job. So I've been thinking about doing my own thing. And then when novel said that, I'm like, huh, that's interesting. All the time I kept thinking I got to go to like a cabin or set up a tent in the woods and then go meditation, plug off from the world so nobody disturbs me. But when he said that, I'm like, oh, that seems interesting. Let me try that. So I did 3 sessions so far. And then this weekend I'll be doing another session, will be my fourth. And this is the lessons I've learned so far. First one I learned is do not have something scheduled for that day evening. So I'm doing Saturdays, completely plugged off. I tell everybody, or at least my family, at least my kids actually, really tell them, hey, look, I won't be available. I'll check my phone once in the middle, briefly, and only answer if it's an emergency, and then turn off. Both my laptop, everything turned off, right? Since probably, first started 9 to 5. Now I do 8 to 6, depends. I'll go through all that stuff. So anyway, so the first lesson I learned is don't have like an event afterwards. Like I had two, three, I did 3 so far, right? I'm going to do the fourth, this weekend, or rather, when you see this, it'll be tomorrow or Saturday. January 4th will be my fourth one. What I learned is do not have something scheduled after. And then do the long sessions in the morning and then the shorter sessions in the afternoon because your legs probably get tired. Yeah, and like Vipassana, one of the things they teach is like really overcoming that pain and all, which is, I think, an amazing idea. But right now, I'm not going to do that because I'm trying to just plug off from the world, do a meditation whole day. How I figured out how I do it is, and it has working for me well, is 20 to 30 minute sessions each time. The first time I did it, it was mostly 20-minute sessions every hour, one session almost, kind of. That's what I did. Second time I strictly did one minimum session in an hour, right? Take a break, drink tea or snack something, or just contemplate. I just let the thoughts come through and things come through. The first session, that's what I learned. It wasn't great, it was like, and I was thinking about things, right? Where I was thinking I would get this, I would get that. So I had an expectation. I think that was a mistake I learned. Do not have expectations. Just do the meditation, be with it. Each session by itself, just be with it, right? Whatever comes will come. And the second one, that's what I did. Decided like I'll just focus on enjoying that session and be with it, right? So 20, 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, that's how I alternated. The second one, and it was amazing. I had mind-blowing, I don't know, breakthroughs, but some of the stuff I have heard from yogis or personal development gurus and all that stuff, it started suddenly clicking for me more deeply, personally, so on and so forth. So it was amazing session, and I almost wanted to like not end it. And then also next day, I also wanted to do the whole day. That's how it was. And that day, I didn't go do anything other than go out to dinner with my kid. That's it. And then I shared with what she wanted, what I got, and then I kind of shared with her what I got. And then and then the third session, a little bit more, I was more intentional in the sense like, hey, I wanted to concentrate on some of the goals I want to achieve and how I should, but I didn't meditate on those. I just meditated and let the thoughts come through afterwards, like what I need to do. So, like a three-fourth of it was great. Ending wasn't that great, seems like. Again, I had an event to go to. So that's another thing I learned. So basically, two out of three, I had events to go to. Now I figured out maybe I shouldn't have events afterwards, when once I have that. So maybe being by myself, or maybe just going out like a lake and just contemplating after everything is done. Maybe have dinner and that's it, right? That's another. But the other curious, so those are the mistakes I've learned is do not have expectations, just do the meditations, enjoy them. Now, I personally do one with the meditation, kind of in music or meditation sounds. I do one, and then I do one silent. And then one I do like seven chakra meditation. There's another one called Isha's, Isha Kriya, which is Sadhguru's one. Um, another one I'll just do like a heart and like my third eye concentration. So it all depends. Everybody has different ones. You can use whatever. You can just maybe use transcendental meditation, which is sound based or a mantra based, whatever works, right? I don't think it matters really. The main point is be with that meditation, let things come as they are, and then thoughts will come. Obviously, being practicing so long, thoughts will still come, right? You just kind of gently, kind of like, hey, cool, get back into it, right? So that's what I did. But anyway, the bottom line is I highly, highly, highly recommend. Here's my suggestion. If you have never done a full day, maybe do a half a day, like a 3-4 hour. And this is what my suggestion is I would say do one session per hour. I don't know if you want to do it like me, right? 20 to 30 minutes. Although I'm going to up it to 40 minutes session, right? Maybe 40 minutes and then take a 30-minute break and they do another 40 minutes or 30 minutes or 20 minutes alternated, right? Every hour. So multiple. So you end up doing like, 8 hours period, 8 to 9 hour period. You might do about 5 hours, 4 to 5, somewhere in 4.5 hours total meditation time, right? Well, but if you are a new meditator, I would say just try for 2-3 hours in the weekend. Like, hey, get up in the morning, turn off the phone, do a 3 sessions. I think generally most people, it takes time for them to get to a point where they can do multiple sessions. It took me 6 years to get here, by the way. First 1-2 years was very hard to meditate, even after everyday meditation, right? I sometimes got really good, sometimes was good sessions, and mostly bad sessions or not so great. Versus now, I have more consistency. Like 7 days a week, I do that. Now I upped it up to twice a day now, meditation, by the way, for various reasons. But bottom line, what I would recommend is I think anybody will have great breakthroughs. Whole thing. It could be personal, professional. They'll have great breakthroughs. Things start popping up. For example, one of the things, kind of popped up on me is the last session. One of the things Sadhguru teaches is, I've listened to him a lot. There are other ones I've listened to, but Sadhguru is the funny, he kind of is funny. And then also he doesn't preach religion at all. So he's more spiritual. So that's why I like him a lot more. There are other people who do the same thing, but he's more funny and more contemporary. So I kind of like it a bit more. Anyway, he talks about how he used to watch each leaf and then be lost in it for hours. And that kind of like, I started doing that whenever I went outside after a meditation session, just looking at the trees and all. And suddenly, this is something I don't know how to express. You can't, you just have to experience. And everybody's experience will be different. I suddenly realized the cycle of life and suddenly felt the love for everything. Because every plant, soil, everything probably is a part of me. And I'm part of them. Because remember how many people were buried under the soil, how many people are regenerated as those trees and soil, animals regenerated soil, or regenerated as animals, who we think we are, the body, right? Eventually will perish and become part of the soil, eventually. And then I found myself immense love for everything, right? Doesn't mean it lasted a long time, but it was briefly there, right? And suddenly, I'm not much of an environmentalist, by the way, to be honest. I'm like, used to poo-poo this environmental activist. Now, I'm not an environmentalist, but I do understand the significance of essentially the soil, nature, and everything. I don't want it to go to the extreme of like, abandon everything. Human beings are bad. That's where I disagree with the environmentalists, but I do agree we have to respect the soil and everything because it is the us and we are them. Anyway, that's one of the things that popped up. Maybe they'll pop up for you. Whatever the case is, right? There'll be other things popping up for you. But highly, highly recommend. Plug off the phone. I'm telling you, just don't look at it as one day you did it and it didn't like it. Just try multiple times, right? I think, once you try it three, 4 times, you'll get the gist of it. And then you can see if it's for you or not. And 99.99%, I'm pretty sure everybody would love that. Anyway, hope that helps. Practice it. Hey, you can send me messages or whatever if you want some kind of guidance or any questions I can answer. I probably can. But yeah, like I said, everybody has their own thing. So you have to do your own thing. What works for me doesn't work, might not work for you. You just have to figure out what works for you. There's so many different ways to do this thing. Hope that helps.